Greetings, clarinets. It's been quite a while since we put up a video, and before I do anything else, I want to send out a big thank you to all of you who have subscribed to our videos. We really appreciate it, and we hope that the coming videos are going to be helpful to everyone who has subscribed. And if you know friends that haven't or don't know about our videos, ask them to tune in and subscribe, look at the videos we've already posted, and subscribe so they can be notified of the videos we're going to put up. The next series of videos is going to be involved in talking about mouthpieces, help you learn about mouthpieces, what each element of the mouthpiece represents, what effect it has on actual performance, and just basically how to analyze mouthpieces for your own judgment, so you can pick the right tool for the right job, so to speak. You know, I began thinking about this years ago when I was in a music store, and two guys were trying mouthpieces. And one guy was obviously the teacher or the professional there, so to speak, and he was trying mouthpieces for the other fellow, and he got several mouthpieces of the same type and was testing them. And as he was testing them, all he did was play as loud as he could on each mouthpiece. My suspicion is that his secondary or primary instrument was really Wagnerian tuba. But I never really got to find that out. But nevertheless, when he finished playing through all the mouthpieces, he pointed to one and said, "That is the best mouthpiece." Purchased it and left with his friend or his student. And the music store owner and I were good friends. I turned to my friend and who owned the music store, and I said, "How could he tell?" And we both broke out laughing, because the gentleman had not done anything that really tested the mouthpiece so he could learn anything about how it actually played. Well, in order to do that, you need to have an objective standard, so to speak, a very solid objective standard by which you can quantify the different performance elements of the mouthpiece, or anything when you're testing. When you test anything, an automobile or a toaster or anything, you have a certain standard in mind that is going to basically be used to judge the performance of that piece of equipment. And it's no different with a clarinet mouthpiece or clarinets. Well, with the clarinet, no matter what piece of equipment you're using, there's really only one set of standards. And we're going to talk about that as a kind of prelude, or so to speak, before we actually talk about mouthpieces themselves, because we're going to be using this standard and thinking about it, having it always in the back of our minds as we're discussing each element of any piece of equipment, but especially of this immediate series coming up on mouthpieces. The first aspect of this set of standards is the aspect of what I call things that are heard. Whenever you play any piece of equipment, whenever you play the clarinet using a mouthpiece or barrel, new mouthpiece or barrel, it's going to have an effect on the things that are heard. And the things that are heard are the musical tone, which consists of pitch, color, and shape. That's really all there is to the inside of the musical tone: pitch, color, and shape. By pitch we mean tuning, by color we mean the overtone recipe, and by shape we mean how well defined you may say the envelope of the sound is, whether it's fuzzy or hazy or diffused, or whether it's very clearly defined or something in between. Now, besides what is heard, for the performer there's what is felt, and what is felt is essentially response and resistance. And what a player looks for in response and resistance is to see that response and resistance are even and predictable from note to note and from register to register. The more even, the more fluid and predictable response and resistance are, the more confidently and securely you can phrase. Besides what is heard and what is felt, there's also another element, and that is the element of stability. Now, stability refers to how pitch, color, and shape react in dynamic changes. I'm sure you've all had the experience of playing a note louder and the pitch starts to sag and the shape starts to spread or shatter. The envelope of the shape begins to rupture, so to speak. and the color begins to brighten quite a bit. So in testing a piece of equipment, you would test if an instrument like got extremely flat and really the sound really spread quite a bit and got very, very bright when you push the dynamic, then you would say that that instrument is not particularly stable. It's not pitch, color, shape stable. So all these things you need to develop tests for, so that when you're testing through a mouthpiece or a clarinet or whatever, you have specific tests designed to tell you about pitch. Most of us use a tuner for that. We'll be talking about that later. But also you need tests to talk about, or to learn about shape and color, and evenness of shape and color, and evenness of response and resistance throughout the clarinet. As you develop and practice these tests and you get better and better at it, you're going to be able to tell more and more objectively about whether the piece of equipment really does what you want it to do and whether it's really appropriate for what you want to do. Once you get very good at this, then you can cut through all the claims. When someone says, my mouthpiece is the best, or my car is the best, or my toaster or doorknob is the best, then there needs to be a standard by which you can verify these claims. And using these standards that we've just outlined here, and learning to test, developing tests so you can discover exactly the performance qualities of pieces of equipment according to these standards, will help you cut through all the claims that are out there, and really there are quite a lot of them, and enable you to get the right piece of equipment, one that you're going to be happy with and satisfied with. And you know, it may not be the piece of equipment that gets all the hype, all the advertisement, and costs the big bucks. So you can save yourself a lot of money and get the right piece of equipment once you work and learn and study how to do how to use these standards. So with that, I'm going to leave those things for you to think about. Again, if you have any questions, please write me. I'll be happy to respond to you, and I'll look forward to seeing you probably next week with our first presentation on clarinet mouthpieces, and that'll give you time to absorb a little of this information, keep it in mind, and be ready to learn a lot about how mouthpieces work and how to examine mouthpieces and get the right information you need. Thanks again for signing up for the video, and I'll be talking to you next week.